Okay, now that we've done a little bit of sound and a little bit of animation, I think we can go ahead and bring in the characters and do a little bit of animation on that. So before I do anything, I think what I'd want to do is go ahead and select everything that I can and right click, Object Properties, make sure Show Frozen Gray is not on, and I'm just going to go ahead and freeze everything because that'll just make things easier. And the next thing that I would do is I would probably save this. So I'm going to go to File and Save As. It should take me directly to my student drive, but if not, you can navigate there. And I'm going to save it as, just like before, My Dancing. But instead of saving it as sound, I'm just going to put that as animation. Since this is more focused on animation, where the last one we did do some animation, but that was all about bringing in the sound. And I'm just going to go save. Alright, and so now I'm going to bring in some characters. There's a couple ways I could do this. I could go back to my student drive and bring in a Blocky character because, well, by the way, I want you to animate both a Blocky character and a class character. This is all practice for when we do our big final project. Anyways, but the better way I think to do that would be like this. Go up to File and then go into Import and then go to Merge. And it should also take me back to my scenes folder in my student drive. And so I've got my Blocky right here, and you should have yours. And the nice thing about this is that we get to see what's in there, and I really prefer that. So yes, those are my Blockies, and I'm going to say Open. Then it's going to give me this dialog. Now there are certain ones that I want and certain ones I don't want, but I think what I'll do is I'll just select all and say OK. And then just delete the ones that I don't want. So there they all are. And let me see, how about if I go T for top, and I can see that I don't want this guy over here, so I can delete him. And I don't think I want this guy right here, so I can delete him. Or this guy here. And so that leaves me with Fred and the cat and that wolf. I'll grab Fred real quick and just bring him up. So I got all these guys in line. Okay, that's good. And next, let's see if we can't get these guys onto the stage. So I'm going to select all of these guys. And let's see, F for front here. That works. And I'll just put them right on the stage. That's pretty good. Next thing I'll do is I'll go ahead and bring in a class character. P for perspective right there, and just find myself. Okay, all good. That'll work. Now, class characters. Oh, you know what? Before I do that, I've got some residual keyframes, probably mostly from that Fred walking, but I'm going to get rid of those. So while everything's selected, all those characters, every part of them, that way I make sure I get all those keys and get rid of them. Okay, that was good. Anyways, back to this and back to bringing in my class character. So you could merge a class character the same way, but I think for these it's easier since I've got the pictures right next to the characters to come in through here. You can see what you're going to get. And I think I'm just going to go ahead. I've been working with this princess, so I'm going to bring her in here. But you bring any character you want. Remember, this is all yours. I hope it doesn't look too much like mine. Alright, so there she is. Takes a little while for her to get there, but that's okay. I'm going to go back to front, and that way I can put her right up here. Sometimes using the place tool on these guys is kind of weird for some reason, so that's why I'm just moving her up manually. Okay, so that's all good, and then back to P for perspective to see how that's working out. And you know, I practice these things before I actually do them. That's maybe one of the reasons why they're as good as they are, or not as bad as they could be. And you know, I was thinking that this stage looks kind of big to me. And so what I can do is I can shrink the stage down. Remember, you cannot grow, in particular, you cannot grow these cat-rigged characters. Okay, the Blockies you could, no problem, and maybe we will. But these guys, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just select the stage here. It's nice to have everything labeled. Select all parts of the stage, and I'm going to shrink that down. No, best thing is, I think, just to select the stage and shrink it down. Everything else will go with it. Is that true? Let's see. Yeah, everything did because they're all in a line. That looks better. It looked just like, it's just a little beach stage, so it seemed a little bit ginormous before. So we'll leave it at that, and maybe move these guys back over a little bit, make sure I've got every bit of them. And you know what I think I'm going to do? So I think, yeah, they're facing front right now, aren't they? Let's see. Yeah, that works out. And oh, everybody stage shrunk, so everybody's got to go down a little bit. And so Fred is good, but these guys need to come down. Okay, all good. And she needs to come down too. I can see her hiding over here in the corner. So I've got her platform, and I'll bring her down as well. Okay, but we're not going to really worry about her too much. In fact, we could probably just freeze her altogether if we wanted to. Oh, let's go back to perspective, because we're not going to mess with her right now, just with the blockies. I'll grab all of her and right click, object properties, and freeze. Clicked off my show frozen in gray. Okay. Now let's see, looking at the relative size of these things, they're kind of cute, but relative to her, they're pretty small. I think I'm going to grow them a little bit. So here's Fred's pelvis. Will all the pieces grow? Yes, they do. Look at that. That's great. And here's the kitty's pelvis. Well, the kitty's probably fine. It's kind of a big cat, but just a cartoon after all. And how about the wolf? Let's find his pelvis here and grow him a little bit as well. Okay, old Fred was constructed a little bit better, and he stays on the floor, but old Wolfie here, he's got to come up. Oh, that'll be fine. Okay, and the next thing that I'm going to do is I'll just go ahead and isolate these guys. So draw a marquee around all of them and isolate. So let's see if everything's set up easy. So F for front, that looks good, and L for left. Let's find those guys. Okay, so that looks good as well. Okay, so back to F for front. Okay, so I'm going to click off to the side here just to deselect those guys. And I'm going to open up that graph editor. Yours might be open already, who knows. But that way I can see the line of the music, because I want to make these guys dance, so I want them to go to the beat. So I'll go up here to the graph editors and open my dope sheet. And yours might already be attached to the top. Mine's not. Yours might have a bunch of buttons. If so, get rid of those the way that I showed last time. And I'm going to dock this to the top. Now that this is docked to the top, I'm just going to go over here to sound, and there's my song right there. I'm going to open that up and I can see the waveform. Okay, so now here's just a quick reminder of how you can navigate around in here. So first off, if you hold down your wheel, just hold it down, not rolling it, I can get the hand sort of thing, so I can pan that to one side or another. Also, I can zoom in by just rolling my wheel. Now you don't have to push in the wheel when you roll it. Just roll it. And whenever you don't have to push in and roll, that's probably good because it's a lot easier on the mouse. Okay, let's see one other thing. Check this out. So if I want to select on old Fred's leg, what happens is that it jumps to Fred's leg. And it thinks that it's helping you out. But it's kind of a pain because really all I want is that waveform. So what I'll do is this, is I'll go to show, right up here where it says show, and then it has track view auto scroll, and it's probably got selected. So I'm going to unselect that, and now go back up here, find my stuff again. So here's sound, open that up. Here's the waveform, so that's what I'm looking for here. And now when I click on any other thing, it doesn't just jump to that thing automatically. I get my little waveform here. Okay, and once again on here, if I want to move this, now this is important, so pay attention. I can just hold down my wheel, and I can drag it. I can scroll it back and forth with my wheel, not even pushing down, and I can zoom in and out. The other thing that we're going to have to remember how to do is zoom in and out on the timeline here and move it around. So to do that, what you do is you have to use the Alt key and the Control key. So I've got my Alt key and my Control key pushed down. So then pushing down the wheel, I can just drag it around, just like the one up front, but I do have to have that Alt key and the Control key pushed down. Or if I want to zoom in, what I have to do is not with my wheel, but with my right click, I can then just expand it or contract it. And that's going to come in very handy here in just a little bit. Another thing that I can do if I want to see just certain parts of it is I could go here to my time configuration, click on that, and let's say I only wanted to see the first 200 frames. So I just type in 200, 20. Oh, I meant 200. Okay, so there's 200 and start time at 0. Okay, and so then that's readjusted my time frame, and I can make that bigger or shorter as much as I want. I think I only need to see one of these guys, so I'm going to put this up a little bit. There, so I've got my one waveform, I can see my guys, I know how to manipulate my timeline down here. So a lot of the point to this tutorial is learning how to edit on the beat, or in other words, edit in conjunction with the sound that you've got going on. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and these guys, listen to the sound for a second. Okay, so that's just a real bouncy song. I'm going to make these guys just kind of do the monkey or something like that. So where does it start? It starts right about there, doesn't it? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my auto key, and let's see here. I will go and I'm going to select this arm and this arm, this arm and this arm, this arm and this arm right now, and I'm going to give all those a little keyframe because I want them to be basically at this position right before the music really gets going. So I'm going to use my rotate tool, and let's see, maybe it'd be better if I was in my left hand view here. Just give it a little jig jog, and that's just been enough to set the key. So remember, I can do multiples of this and just shift copy over and over again, making things a lot easier. I don't have to do things for everything every time, but that's just because I'm using just the rotate. The move tool doesn't work that way, but the rotate does, and we're going to be mostly rotating, so that's all good. Anywho, so back to here. How'd that get turned off? There it is. So anywho, we've got this right here, and we've got our sound. And so back to front. I'm going to select just the right arm of each one of these guys, and I'm going to start moving things to the music. Now, a lot of this is going to be really repetitive, so I'm going to do a few of them just so you can see how the pattern is, and then I'll just pause my recording or something like that and do the rest, and just clue you into all the important parts. Okay, but to get us started off here, here we go. That's a good view. And okay, so let's see. If you could see up here, right where that beat is, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to raise up the arms right there. Whoop. Okay, everybody's got their arm raised. And then what I'll do is on each one of these beats, I'm going to go up or I'm going to go down. Okay, and you know what I'm going to do too is I'm going to zoom in on this timeline. Might make it easier on myself. I've already kind of zoomed in on here because I zoomed into 200 out of my 900 frames. Okay, so just rolling that wheel and moving this over a little bit. Okay, and why 200? Well, it's because when I looked at this song, I could see that it was sort of a repetition to it. see, this is the same as this, which is the same as this, which is the same as this. So all I have to do is set my frames for this one right here, then I can shift copy, shift copy, shift copy it over, so that it's just a whole lot easier, right? I'm kind of lazy, so I try and do things the easy way, or well, maybe hopefully just the efficient way. Okay, there we go. So anyways, so we've got this up on this first one. Then we're going to go to the next beat right here, and we'll bring them both down. And then over to the next, excuse me, gotta grab this guy right here. To the next beat right there. We'll bring it up. To the next beat and bring it down. And so forth and so on. I'll just keep doing that. So I'm going to skip this forward for a second and show you the results when I'm... Alright, so I've made the keyframes for this first set of arms. Okay, and so now I'm going to make the keyframes for the next set of arms here. And just like before, I'm just going to follow that beat. Okay, so make it the opposite. So here, we've got the arms up. Oh, that's the apex. That's as high as they went. So these guys right here can be right about here at that point. And, okay, anyways, and so then this should be up when that one's down. And then when that one is up, this one goes down. That one's down, so this one goes up. Just following the beat like I was doing before. Alright, so I've set the keyframes for the other arms, so let's see how those are going. Okay, so all good. And I believe that what we can do now is I'm just going to select everything here. And yeah, so just here at 200, I can see there's a new beat starting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand my timeline here. So I'll make it like about, say, 500. And I'm going to go OK. And let's expand this a little bit just by going like that with the wheel. Okay, somewhere around there. And so now, let's see if I can't just take these keyframes here, copy everything, except for the very first one. Maybe don't copy that one. And let's bring it over here. So I'm going to hold down my Shift key. And that was about 200. Okay, letting go, but I haven't deselected these guys, so here we go, at about 200. Yeah, that seemed about right. Okay. Once again, let's just check. Okay, so maybe at this break I would do something a little bit special. I don't know what this keyframe is. We'll just get rid of that. I think what I'll do here is I'll just bring these arms down. Go forward a little bit. Maybe about here, have both arms going up. Maybe out here, going down. And here. I mean, those guys go back up for that one. Okay, and so right about here is where I think I can repeat this whole pattern once again. So now I'm going to make this time go all the way to 900. Remember, we had 900 in a little bit, but that's all right. So then I'm going to grab all of these keyframes here, and I'm going to hold down my shift key and move all of those over. This is a lot like that blocky walk cycle that we did a long time ago. A little bit more complex, but we're getting smarter, right? Let's see how that works. Okay, I don't know if it's perfect, but you know, for a tutorial it's good enough. If it was my own project, I'd probably mess with it a little bit, you know, get things a little bit more on the beat, but I think we're okay for now. Alright, so now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to work with the bodies a little bit. So it just seems like first thing I'll do is work with this cat. Okay, so I'm going to take the body part of the cat and put my auto key on. Right about here is where everything starts to happen. So I'm just going to raise up the cat a little bit on its body. Okay, good enough. Looks like that cat needs to come forward just a little bit. Okay, and so then what I want to do is I'm going to make the bodies rock back and forth because we've got good movement on the arms, but we don't have great movement on the bodies yet. So maybe on this first beat, I'll grab all these guys right here. Rotate and maybe forward. So this one on some more of the major beats. Back. And then forward. And then back. And forward. And then up, back. And then forward. So forth. Okay, and let's see if we can't shift copy those ones as well. So, okay, I think I want them to be a little bit explosive now. So they're already down. They'll be going really down even a little bit more. And then just on the next one. Okay, right on that sonance part, way up. And that's going to be kind of fast. So kind of explosive. Okay, so right about here, I'll bet you I can just take, and I'll take all of these keyframes here. And I'm just going to shift copy them all the way over here. See, and that makes it easier. I don't have to do everything every time. All right, and so then from there, maybe a few other adjustments. Like for instance, I think that them standing straight like that's a little goofy, so maybe at that very first part right there, I'll have them bending their knees a little bit. So what I would do to bend their knees, let's see, how do I do that? I would grab the pelvis, right, of each one of these guys. So grab the pelvis and the pelvis and the pelvis. And would I do that? No. What I'm going to do, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab the legs of these guys. That's what I'll do. And I'm going to rotate those forward a little bit. And then grab their lower legs. And rotate those back a bit. And let's see here. Let's go to our left-handed view here. So left. And let's see. Let's end that isolation for a second. I got to see if they are actually standing on the stage. So front, was it? Well, yeah, they're kind of up on their toes a little bit. I think what we could do is this, is take their toes and we're going to bring all those up a little bit. Then we're going to take all their pelvises. That guy's pelvis is kind of a pain. There it is. And we're going to bring those down a little bit. Okay, so we've got that. Okay, that should be good. And then the next thing that I'll do is start working on their heads. So let's isolate those guys again. And front. Maybe rotating their shoulders a little bit. Now Fred, he's already his shoulders are already kind of messed up. So let's look at that from the top. Yeah, Fred's are already kind of messed up. So what I'm going to do is turn off my auto key so that I don't make a keyframe from this. Rotate that just a little bit. Now he looks like he's lined up. Okay, so now I can turn on my auto key again. And just like before, I don't have to totally follow this, but we'll do our best. Okay, so just grab all these different bodies here, and you should go the direction of your arm. So yeah, that works. Okay, so this arm's up, so we could rotate the body a little bit this way. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to keep doing this, and that way I'll come back to you guys when I'm all done with that. We'll see how it looks. Okay, so I finished messing around with those bodies, just turning them a little bit more. And so let's see what it's looking like so far. Okay, that's pretty good. So maybe the last thing is just the head. So I'll start messing with the heads a little bit. All right, so let's get these guys here. Sure, why not? This guy's going to go down. This guy's going to go both down and over because he's just a little bit crazy. And this guy's going to go down a little bit. Okay. And I'm just going to check this out and move them whenever I kind of feel like it. Just like that. So pretty much whenever the body goes down. Pretty much whenever the body goes down, as I was saying. So what, that was right to that 200. That's perfect. So then what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and expand this out again. This time I'll just use this. And we'll go to like about 950. Okay. And I should be able to just grab these guys here. These are the ones that I made. And I'm going to grab all of them. And then at, let's see. So really at that very first beat, let's just do it. And I'm going to hold down my shift copy and shift it over. So let's see, what's that looking like? Okay, that looks great. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. Grab all these guys and move them all over to just past there. I have a feeling that's going to be pretty good. Okay, so that's pretty good. And, you know, it seems really complicated, but just remember, use the power of repetition. So if you look at this song once again, and your song is probably the same way, that, well, it's music, right? It's going to keep repeating itself. And so we can see, okay, yeah, this has 1, 2 sections that are very similar, and those 2 sections are very similar to these sections here. And so a little customizing in the middle, and you can just follow a pattern. And then, once you've made it for one section, you can probably shift copy over to the next. You could probably take both of those and shift copy them over to here, so that it's just a lot easier. You want to do as little work as possible. Okay, so I'm going to turn off my auto key. I've already saved this as animation, but I'm going to make sure that I just save again. So there's save, and then it's all good. Always remember to save. Okay, and so then in the next tutorial, I'll start moving the girl around.